Welcome to a live stream from Transport Evolved. I'm going to try not and jiggle my desk because then it makes my camera jiggle. But I hope that you are well and that you are having an amazing weekend. This is a live stream with a difference. We're going to try out something new. It was unplanned, but several of you have reached out in the last couple of days and asked me and other members of the team about a better route planner. Essentially, how do I travel in my electric car long distance without running into worries about range anxiety and other things? And there have been some improvements lately on a better route planner that happened around about the holidays. And so I felt that it was a really good chance for us to have a little bit of a get together where I talk you through how to use a better route planner for the very first time. Now, a little bit of housekeeping here. I'm going to try and keep this stream reasonably short. And for those who don't know, I live in the middle of nowhere. So we're relying on a rural internet connection. We do have Starlink, but Starlink is unreliable for streaming. So we have to turn our Starlink connection off at the house. And then we have to rely on our local wireless provider that literally beams a 20 megabit per second connection down the hillside to the local town, about 8 miles away. And so sometimes it's a little bit gnarly, especially if other people who share the connection locally are all streaming movies and watching Netflix and playing games. So bear with us. If the connection goes bad, we are going to try and work on a better solution for the future. So with COVID cases spiking around the world, it's pretty bad in North America right now. Lots of people are coming to me and going, I don't want to fly somewhere. I would rather drive somewhere. And so people are actually seriously considering road tripping in an EV, sometimes for the very first time, things that they wouldn't necessarily have thought about. Previously, they would have just jumped on a plane, but now they're worried about being in a confined space with other people of unknown viral load, even if they are triple vaccinated and they're wearing N95 masks. And having flown myself a couple of weeks ago, I totally get it. I prefer these days to drive. And obviously, if you're driving in an EV, it can cost you not a whole lot. It's actually quite a relaxing experience. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how a better route planner works and talk you through a hypothetical situation in which we will do a reasonably long distance road trip and show you how you can use a better route planner to your advantage. Now, I know that there's going to be lots of people in the comments after this video has aired going, wow, you should just buy a Tesla. And you know what? Tesla has, I think, hands down, still the best route planning option if you are somebody who wants to buy a car that has a route planning solution built in, where you know whether the charging station is going to be working or not when you arrive, when the car can actually prepare itself en route to make sure that it charges you at optimum speed, and where everything is taken care of in terms of payment. Then go buy a Tesla, right? The Tesla ecosystem supercharger network is hands down still the best, the most reliable charging network anywhere on planet Earth, and I assume anywhere in the solar system. And so this video is not necessarily for people to go, well, buy a Tesla. This is for people to look at alternatives for other cars. Although several people say they use a better route planner, I have their best route. They use ABRP to check their Tesla navigation. So yeah, I mean, I've known other people who do that before. My main challenge with a better route planner is GPS getting stuck en route and not updating charging stops for our first generation car that does not have CCS. Now, I've heard other people say that the route does sometimes have issues if you're out of cell phone connection. Remember, a better route planner does rely on you having a mobile telephone and does rely on you having a cellular connection. So just bear that in mind. Now, I have the latest Apple iPhone, and it works really well with a better route planner. I have a Bluetooth LE dongle that plugs into the onboard diagnostic port on my Chevrolet Bolt EV. Now, if you are a Bolt EV owner and you want to know where the diagnostic port is, it's on the left-hand side of the driver's steering wheel, kind of down at the bottom of the of the dash. You just feel underneath and you just plug the device in. A Better Route Planner used to require a third-party app to communicate, to get live data from your Chevrolet Bolt and bring it into the program. But now it's actually integrated into a Better Route Planner, which means all you need is a Better Route Planner and your ODB2 dongle to Bluetooth LE adapter, although I think it supports other types of adapters too. And ideally, you need a Better Route Planner Pro membership. I have a Pro membership because I want to support the team behind this. I should point out that a Better Route Planner is developed by a really cool group of people. As far as I'm aware, it's not owned by any like major company. So some of you may know that PlugShare was recently acquired by a charging network. So some people have been kind of questioning whether that is still necessarily as impartial as it could be. But a Better Route Planner is completely independent. So let's go through this and we'll go through. So first thing we need to do, obviously, is we need to bring a Better Route Planner onto screen. So let's do that now. And for obvious reasons, this is in a private window. I'm not going to show you my personal A Better Route Planner setup because it will show you where I live, and I would rather you do not come and see me. So you can get ABRP Premium. It tells you how much it is. It's not going to load there because it's in a private window and its pop-up was blocked. But let's go back to the settings here, and somebody was asking, how do I travel from one side of America to the other in my car? It was a Chevrolet Bolt. I'm not going to say who it was because I don't necessarily, I don't know if they want to have their personal information shared online. Thank you very much, Anonymous Freak. You've been very kind this weekend. Oh, that's appropriate. My face is hidden by your super sticker. We could just leave it like that. So what we are going to do is we're going to pick a portion of the country. We're going to pick somewhere. Let's pick Detroit, Michigan. Obviously, it gives you a choice there. And then we're going to find an endpoint for our road trip. Let's pick San Diego, California. All right, of course, it could be anywhere on your trip. Now, that's obviously a standard route planning software. And here, nothing is going to happen if you see that this is not going to do anything, because you have to tell it what type of car you are driving. So if you click on this select car model here, it will give you a whole load of different vehicles. You'll notice even at the bottom there, we've got a 0. There's an Xpeng, Volvo, Volkswagen, Vauxhall, Twike, which I think is great. It's the Twike 5, which is coming apparently. It's been talked about quite a bit in forums, but not really in the mainstream EV world. But let's pick a car that we have been talking about a lot here, the Bolt EV. So they've recently changed the models for the Chevrolet Bolt EV, and all these models are collected through community support. People are connecting data from their cars and giving it to a Better Route Planner so that the modeling for a Better Route Planner is really freaking accurate. I think it's pretty accurate. So obviously we're going to check 2017 to 2018 Bolt. This person had reached out and said, hey, in fact, I've had 2 people reach out with Bolts going, I have an original Bolt. I haven't had the battery upgrade yet, and I would love to know if this trip is still possible. So we're going to select the 2017 Chevrolet Bolt EV, and we're going to change the departure state of charge, because if we assume that that person has had the latest software update enabled, the one that restricts you to an 80% maximum state of charge, but allows you to go all the way down to 0, you can't have more than 80% state of charge. So this would be the very bare minimum, right? This is the very bare minimum. And if we click on this now, we'll go back and we click on this blue, because now it's changed blue, it will give us the route. Now, I have not tested this particular road trip out yet. Sometimes a Better Route Planner does take a while, because obviously it's quite a popular program. One of the reasons why I'm a premium member is because I want to support the folks who are doing that. And here we go. This is the roadmap this is the route that a better route planner says you should take to go from Detroit, Michigan, all the way to San Diego, California. It tells you it's going to take you 52 hours, 2,364 miles. You can change this to metric if you are in a country or you prefer metric measurements. You can change that. It also splits it down. Excuse me. It also splits it down to how many hours you're going to be driving, 36 hours and 6 minutes, versus how many hours it thinks you need to charge, 15 hours and 54 minutes or 53 minutes. That's 23 charges en route. Kate was asking, can you get a better route planner to work via Android Auto on your Bolt? I have in the past. I haven't used it recently because while I do have an Android phone right here, this is my rooted. It says battery is too low. This is my rooted OnePlus 3, I think. I do have an an Apple iPhone now, and so that is the main phone I use when I'm doing road trips and things. I'm just going to plug my my Android phone in and charge it, as it told me that it had a low battery. So let's go back to this map here. Now, what I've just shown you is for a 2017 to 2018 Chevrolet Bolt EV without any issue with its battery. I'm saying it's starting with an 80% state of charge. But if you look at this, somewhere on here, I'm sure, it will tell me that I need to charge up to 100% or I need to charge up to 80%, or it will let me go down below. And I don't believe this one is going to. It's actually 88. Here we go. So this one here, it says I need to charge from 10% to 88%. Now, if you've had that battery update done, that's not possible. The software update. Obviously, if you've had the new battery, then you're good. But if you've got the original battery and you've got the software restriction to make sure nothing bad happens to your car, you need to go into the advanced settings, which you just click there. Thank you. May YouTube route us to a successful stream. Yes, I agree. Let me know if it's carrying on well. So then what we need to do here is we need to make some changes to this route so that it better reflects the real world that our car is experiencing, or your car is experiencing. So the first thing you can do is you can say what type of charging station you want. So obviously this is correct. It's saying CCS. You can also change a particular charging network. So if you only want to use Electrify America, or you only want to use a particular network, you can plug that in there. Those are the ones you prefer. And then you can also do chargers to avoid. So if you know that there is one of these charging stations on the map that is in a really seedy part of town, or you know doesn't work properly, then you can select it. Now, I shouldn't point out here, and we'll come to this later, that a better route planner, unless it's changed recently, doesn't always have the most up-to-date charger availability. And at one point last year when I was using this, there was one charging stop it told me to take, and it took me to an Electrify America location in Central California that was actually, as Southern California, that was actually offline. The whole charging site was offline, and it actually stranded me because I didn't bother to check on the Electrify America website that it was actually functioning. So John was saying, so where was it? So a better route planner doesn't have a special hobbled bolt model that knows new max min. No, but we can do this manually, which is what we're just about to do here, John. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the battery here. All right. So the battery button, we can tell it the arrival state of charge. So that can be any number that you are comfortable with arriving. Now, I personally, when the car is working as it should, I like to try and arrive with no less than 15%. But because we're dealing with a hobbled bolt that has that 80% restriction, I'm actually going to say I'm okay with 10%, and it will give you a little bit of leeway either way in the algorithm. You say charger arrival state of charge, 10%. So I want to arrive at my destination with a minimum of 10% state of charge. I want to arrive at my next charging stop with a minimum of 10% charge. And someone was saying, well, could we change that to, let's change that to 12, so you can see how we change it. Now, charger max state of charge. Now, right now, if you own a Chevrolet Bolt that hasn't had the battery replaced, but has had the restriction placed on its battery pack, you can only charge up to 80%. Doesn't matter how hard you try, you will not be able to go above 80%. Charging overhead are things like how long is it going to take you to actually get out the car, get the charging station working and stuff like that. I tend to put that at 10 minutes because I find that adds a little bit of buffer in case the charging station is misbehaving or things like that. And then you can do things like this. So you can say, I want my maximum speed. I don't like driving above 70. So you say, 70 miles an hour is going to be the maximum speed I'm going to do on this trip. But you can also adjust the speed if needs be. You can also put in real-time traffic data, which it pulls from the web. I think you need a premium subscription for that. Ditto for weather conditions. So if you want real-time weather, you have to pay for that. That's part of the update, some kind of the upgrade that you get. But you can also do a thing that you don't want to deal with en route. So if you don't want to go down highways, you don't want to deal with toll roads, you can select that on your route there. All right, now here, charging stops. This is another important part of the slider here, and the setup that we have here is you can say that you want to charge, you want to stop less frequently to charge, or you want to have shorter legs. The one in the middle is your quickest arrival. So obviously, if you have shorter legs, you're going to spend more time going to charging stations, stopping, plugging in, and all of that, and that takes up time. But it does mean that you will avoid your maximum range anxiety on trips. So if it's a trip you absolutely do not care how long it takes, you absolutely do not want to have range anxiety at any point, you would slide it all the way over to shorter legs. If you want to have fewer stops, but you don't mind range anxiety and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to make it or not, then obviously you can do fewer stops. But fewer stops generally means you have to drive more slowly to get to your next charging station, which again increases your overall time. So let's go back now. So we're going to click that button there. And we're going to hit this button again. We're going to recalculate it. So remember that figure there. It's going to go up because we're driving a crippled car, and we're going to see those oranges start to appear on the map. And we're going to talk about those oranges in a second. So it might take, a few seconds. It might take a minute. But, a better route planner has helped me get across the United States. So I drove all the way from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast in a Chevrolet Bolt EV, and we didn't have any issues. All right, so it's now saying 54 hours. So it went up. The amount of time that you're going to charge on the road went up because you can't go beyond 80%, and you said you only wanted to go down to 10%. So let's see if we can do that. So you'll see this one here, 130 miles going from 12% to 79%. Now, I know if I was doing this trip, I would look at that and go, yeah, I can do 130 miles on what amounts to 70% state of charge. I can drive sensibly. If the weather's bad, I might want to change it. But here's how you go about solving this particular problem here. Now, where are we? We're in Nebraska. This looks like it could be Nebraska. Nebraska into Colorado. Okay, so I've actually driven this particular route, so I know this route really well. So what I might do if I was in this situation and I didn't want to have this bit where I'm kind of constantly worrying about whether I'm going to make it or not, I might opt to zoom in on the map and see if there are other charging stations on this route that a better route planner has decided that we shouldn't stop at. Now, I know there is one. I saw it a second ago. It seems to have vanished from the map. There it is. It's not far from Julesburg. Okay, so I can click on this. It's a 40 kilowatt charging station, which isn't perfect, but I can add that as a waypoint on my route, and when I replan it, it may or it may not then change that orange to blue. And it's a bit of trial and error. Oh, we could not. Planner server error. Sometimes this does happen. I really hope it's not going to do it again, because that would suck, especially in a live stream. Like I say, a better route planner sometimes does get a little bogged down. Is it going to give me that route again? I'm actually playing with better route planner since I'm getting my R1S this August. I'm not sure if I should add headwind or add weight for it to be more accurate. You could add both, and hopefully it will be more accurate. Sometimes a better route planner does this. Sometimes it gets upset. Sometimes you have to just let the system have a mare. It might be caused by the fact that I'm streaming. So let's see. Live demo Murphy's Law. Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. It's come back. So remember that little hiccup we had in Nebraska into Colorado, and you remember that we had that stop there where we went from Nebraska into Colorado, and there was that long section where it was like, oh, I don't know about that. Now you'll see it's turned that section from orange, which is you can make it, but you have to drive at a certain speed, you have to be careful, to yeah, you're good, you're fine, jobs are good. All right, so this is a great way of figuring out where you're going and how far you've got to travel. Now, somebody in the chat asked, how do you figure out where you're going to be stopped for the night? Well, this is where I bring in PlugShare. Now, while I'm not a fan of PlugShare, one thing that PlugShare does really, really well, and also OpenChargeMap does it as well, is it allows you to figure out where there are hotels en route that are good and allow you to charge. If you're hearing a weird noise, it's a puppy being praised for potty training outside. So let's have a look here at the map. Now, I know this route pretty well because I've done this route. At least I've done kind of from here all the way down into, into Grand Junction. Now, I know for a fact there's a place in Denver where there's a charging station and a hotel. So what I might do is, first of all, I'm going to look and see how many miles I'm comfortable with driving in a particular day. Now, obviously, if you're driving with 2 or 3 different people and they are having a fun time, thank you very much, Mike. That's very kind of you. I love the super stickers. I can't see them on the stream here, but I can see them in the chat. So thank you. I would normally split up this based on eyeballing it. So if you've got somebody else with you and you're kind of a couple, or maybe there's 3 of you and you're somebody who can get a real good sleep in the car and you're good at micro sleeping, and it doesn't matter if you don't get 8 hours every night. And I'm not one of those people. I need 8 hours sleep at night. I suffer from a medical condition that if I don't get a proper night's sleep, I'm actually dangerous behind the wheel. And both my partner and my colleagues know that driving at night is dangerous for me. If I've had a long, tiring day, I need to sleep before I'm safe behind the wheel. Interestingly, I notice that I get less tired when I have a semi-autonomous driver assistance system. So if I'm using autopilot or I'm using Blue Cruise, I feel a lot less tired. And it's an interesting thing. I need to probably research that a bit more. But let's say that you are like me, you're not going to drive through the night and you want to figure out where to stop. So you're just going to eyeball it, right? So let's look at this map here. So 106 miles, 109 miles, 82, 113. I would say I would probably want to stop somewhere around Charlotte, in Illinois even. Gosh, Nikki, what's wrong with you? So I probably want to stop somewhere around here. Now, there's 2 ways you can do it, and I know I've picked a bad one here because, as I say, we had this problem. When we did this trip, we actually stayed in this town, and what we did was there wasn't a place for us to go to a hotel and stay the night. So I don't want to register. So what we're going to do is we're going to filter. I'm going to turn them all off. And we're going to go for J1772. Let's go for J1772. And then we're going to go to hotel lodging. All right. So those are the amenity filters. And then we're going to say Joliet, Illinois. Okay. Oh, so there is a place nearby with, for some reason, I don't think the La Quinta was available or whatever, but you can look and find a place to stay the night. So there's this La Quinta in Joliet, and you check to see what people say about it. So this guy driving a Pacifica hybrid said, no power to charge. Staff is fairly unhelpful about turning it on. Now, if I see that on a map, I've got two choices. One, I find somewhere else to stay, or two, I look to see if there is a nearby rapid charger. Now, in this case, for this particular location, I know if I switch over to, where is it? Come back. If I go back, I'm getting very good at American geography. All right, so I know, so that is the, I think that's the, no, that's Conrad's Harley Davidson. It says it's 24 hours. I wouldn't necessarily go to a Harley Davidson dealership to plug in a non motorbike. But there's this charging station here. And I know, but if I switch over, the hotel is not far away. So I might book at the hotel and hope that the charging station works, knowing that I've got enough charge to make it to the rapid charger in the morning if I absolutely need to. That is what I would do. So further on the trip, so let's say, okay, fine, I hit the wrong button. We got to Joliet, didn't we? So we are, where are you? We're here. So let's say the next day we are going to go to, let's see if we can get to Des Moines. All right. So never spelled Des Moines. All right, here we go. So we zoom in here. Again, remember, I've told this PlugShare to look for charging stations that are next to hotels or have hotels nearby. Sometimes you will find they don't, but they might be nearby. This one, oh, and let's talk about the ratings, right? So if you see it's got a number 10 next to it, that means it's a really well-rated charging station. So Hilton Des Moines downtown, you'll see that it has guests only, but that's fine if you're going to stay there. It's got a J1772 and it's got a Tesla destination charger. So if you are a non-Tesla owner, you might want to pick up a destination to J1772 adapter if you're really, really kind of, I must charge here overnight. But what you can do is click on that, get the information. And then obviously you'd go to the hotel website, you'd confirm that they've got a booking for the night you want to stay. And then the next day, so we're just kind of roughing it out right now. And I'm missing the portion even, I can't speak today. I'm missing the portion of the route planning where what I would normally do is I'd look at this overall route, make sure it's possible, and then I'd break it up into days. So I would go back, I'd go back to restart, and then I would do my starting point, and then I would, as my destination, I would put the hotel that I want to stay at the night. And then the next day, I would start that route planning process again, going from the hotel I want to stay at to my final destination. Then I'd figure out how comfortable I am, how many miles I want to drive in a day. Personally, in a Bolt, I want to do no more than about 450 miles. If the Bolt has that max 80% charge modification, I think that would be pushing it. I've done 700 miles in a Bolt that didn't have a restriction on it, and it was fine. It was hard work. But 450 miles would probably be maximum if you're on your own. If you're with someone else, maybe you can do 600 miles because maybe you might need a good night's sleep, but you're okay getting a power nap in the middle of the day and then taking over some driving as you go. So one thing to note, this is important. Thank you, Anonymous Freak. One note about a better route planner. It hides level 2 or J1772 charging stations by default. You do have to go into the settings to show it. So let's do that. So if you go here, you can tell it that you want to do level 2 charging stations. But if you click level 2 charging stations, it sometimes may take you to a level 2 charging station if that's all available. Looks like premium membership does have charger availability in it. So that is a new thing. I hadn't really taken that on board. Another thing I want to talk to you about here. Someone said you probably speak better after the dentist than I have ever on my best day. I appreciate that, Mike. It's very kind of you. So let's talk about the next thing we were going to do, and then I'm going to close it off so it's not a stupidly long stream. Minimum charger stalls. And if you have questions that you want me to answer, start putting them in the chat now. I'll do a quick rapid fire question round at the end. Minimum charger stalls is really important. Why is it important? Because you want redundancy. So when I'm doing a route like this, I never leave it at 1. I always say I want a minimum of 4. And the reason I want a minimum of 4 is because, especially with Electrify America, there might be one that's broken, there might be one that's occupied, there may be one that's a bit slow, and you want to have that 4th one. Sometimes I pulled up at an Electrify America charging station, plugged in the bolt, and the bolt's gone 20 kilowatts. That's all you're getting. And then I plug into a different charging station and suddenly it gives me all the power. So we've redone this again. You'll notice that it's defaulted and reset. So it's now got this. It's decided that it doesn't want us to stop at these charging stations in Nebraska, which is why it's always important to zoom in. So this may be a charging station. It's only got 3. So now I can go, okay, it's got 3 instead of 4. I still want to stop there because I trust that one of them is going to work. And this puts you in power. It means that you're no longer going, oh, I don't know if this charging station works or not. Now, something that is worth mentioning here is if you are somebody who owns a non-CCS car, that is a first generation Nissan Leaf, first generation Kia Soul EV, you might have major problems doing a trip like this because CHAdeMO is basically the forgotten network in North America. So Nikki is British. What dentist? I do have, actually, shall I tell you a secret here? My wife will kill me. I have better teeth than my partner does. Partly because of genetics, partly because I grew up on a dairy farm and I drank gallons of milk as a kid. But I was 41 when I got my first filling. I just think about that. I was 41 before I needed a filling, and the filling in question was so small, they didn't have to give me anything like any sedatives or any painkillers or anything. Literally, the dentist went, oh, you've got a little hole developing there. I should fill that. And I was like, great. And he was like, yeah, we can do it now. He went in there, did a little drill, and I went, are we done? Do I get an injection now? And he was like, no, we're done. We're finished. So that's why. So anyway, this gives you a good overview of how to plan this long distance road trip. Top tips from someone who's done it a lot. So I've driven all the way from obviously up here all the way down to kind of here in Texas. I've driven down to Southern California more times than I care to mention, and I've driven all the way across a country. And as Mike says, you can force a charging stop. I think that's in relation to my comment about Nebraska. You can force a charging stop. So let's go up here and we're going to say, I'm going to add that as a waypoint. And then if we do this again, it will make sure that we have that point on the map to stop at. You sometimes have to juggle the waypoints. I can't remember if they fixed that. I know early on you had to make sure that your waypoints were in order. Otherwise, it would take you to the first waypoint and then back to your second one. But it looks like they fixed that now. Now, once you have created your route, what you can then do is you can then save it. So I will save it to particular days. So if you have a premium account, you can save, see this button down here, you can save your route to particular days. So I go day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. I normally put the address somewhere in there, or I'll make a little thing that I keep on in my car somewhere with where I'm going and what I'm stopping at. And when I stop to charge, I do tend to charge beyond what the car says. So if you have an onboard diagnostics to Bluetooth LE dongle that allows your car to see what's going on with a better route planner, you can actually use CarPlay to make this your onboard route planning. So rather than using Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever else, you can actually use this in your car with CarPlay to navigate within your car using live data from your car's onboard diagnostics port that is transmitted over to your phone, and this will then adapt your route as you go. So if it suddenly gets super cold, the program will adapt. If it suddenly if you suddenly hit traffic and you slow down and you're not traveling as quickly, the program will adapt. And then when you get to your location, it'll go, you don't need to charge for as long as you thought you did. Or if you drove really fast, oh boy, you need to charge more for the next leg. So keeping that program app running on your CarPlay or whatever is a great way of making sure that you stay up to date with what's going on. The other thing I should probably show you here, which is super important, let's find a little bit here. It's kind of difficult because I've done it the wrong way around to demonstrate this properly. But for those who don't know, because I'm assuming not everybody here watching is in North America, basically from about Des Moines all the way to Denver, you're going uphill very slowly. You're going uphill. And so let's see if I can pick. Oh, no, I did it wrong. I'm an idiot. Let's zoom in. If you click on this, can you see? You're slowly going uphill. So this shows you at what point you are on the map, even what the maximum speed limit is, and what your elevation change is. And so on the bottom here is, on the left here is your elevation change. On the bottom here is how many miles you are in that leg. And I clicked on a particular point in the map. So it says at this point on the map, you should have a 47% state of charge. You're going to arrive with 12%. And it really, really freaking helps. So let me see if I can find another one that works a bit better. So when you come out of Denver, you're going to be going uphill a little. So here we go. This is a better one here. So let me redo this. I'll bring it down. So this is a great one. Coming out of Denver, right? It's a pretty short leg. And in your head, you might go, oh, I've only got 100 miles, or I've only got, probably this is about 60, 70 miles. I'm going to be fine. But then if you look, you've got a massive, massive elevation change between 38%, and you have your highest elevation change, and you're nearly at 12% here. So it shows you, and if you've got a co-driver with you, this is beautiful, because you can ask your co-driver, how are we doing for hills? And I do this regularly when I'm on the road. And your co-driver looks at the map and looks at that profile for the route and goes, yeah, you're good. So once you've crossed kind of the highest peak here, which is about here on this route, once you've crossed that bit, the last bit is downhill all the way. So this is easier, right? Because you're going downhill. This leg is a piece of cake because you're starting super high up and you're basically going downhill all the way. So knowing things like that is great. Now, Samsex says, just on, what program is this? And if I'm short on time, how do I learn to use it? I'm in the USA. Go back, watch this stream from the beginning. I know it's like 40 minutes, but I've covered most of the basics, unless you're somebody who is kind of quite autodidactic and you can just look at the stuff and figure it out. I'm an autodidact, so that's how I learned how to use it. I just played with it and saw what happens. But that is how you go about making the route. That is how you go about using a better route planner. And that is how you avoid all of the nasties of route planning in a vehicle. And then you can do fun things with a better route planner. You can also use it, as we did, to figure out what would happen if we needed to make a long distance trip. So this is a great one for us. So, folks, some of the models are not accurate because they're called beta ones because the car's not been published yet or anything like that. But let's give you an example. So we're going to go from Portland, Oregon, and we're going to go to we're going to go to somewhere in Virginia. Somewhere in Virginia. You could be really vague about it. And then we're going to go back and we're going to do this in our crippled Chevrolet Bolt EV with all of those. Okay. And we'll hit that now. Yep, Sean, you can also adjust how much battery you have. You'll want to input that manually in the app. So we do that, and it really does figure out. Henderson, oh, nice part, nice place. So it looks like it's taken us to Richmond, which I know quite well. Spent some time in Virginia, but it's basically taken us kind of to northeast. There we go. It's still thinking about it. Still thinking about it. Is it going to give me? Hey, there you go. All right. So if I did this in my crippled, I don't have a cripple, but my hypothetical crippled Bolt EV, it would take me 73 hours and 31 minutes. And let's just say we are going to be buying a, let's say we want to change and we want to do this in a, somebody said Lucid Air. So let's do it in a Lucid, let's do it in the Dream Edition. Let's say that we can leave with 100%. Let's say that we're not going to go above 90%. So we're going to give ourselves 10%. All right, and we're going to go back. So remember that figure, 73 hours. And we should do this. Someone says, Better Route Planner sucks at calculating the amount it's going to cost. It's based on dollars per minute and not dollars per kilowatt hour. I'm not going to give a Better Route Planner a hard time for that because every charging network changes its policies on a seemingly daily basis about whether you're being charged by the kilowatt hour or by a time. And in the US, some states, it's illegal to charge by the kilowatt hour. They have to charge by time. So here we go. Doing that in a Lucid Air knocks off nearly a day. In fact, it might be more than a day. 54 hours and 17 minutes. I can't remember what it was previously, but that's insane. That's incredible. So it just is a great tool. Also, if you're buying a car, you're wanting to cross shop different cars, this is a great tool to help you figure out which car is going to be best for you and your needs. So thank you very much for watching. I don't think we have any questions that we haven't already answered. Does a Better Route Planner consider elevation? Yes, it does, as we just covered. You can set the weather, yep, and you can account for cold weather as well. And the models I found are pretty accurate, definitely more accurate than a lot of ones I've seen over the years. So play with it and see if you can go from there. I like that. The Lucid Air has the BAB. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Can we even afford to do a route in a Lucid Air? I don't know. I've done this with an Aptera before as well as a way of figuring it out. Outlook file template compatible map point. Who made the map data? I think it uses an open source, the OpenStreetMap. And can I enter my bladder size anywhere? Well, you can, because you can say, look, I want to do shorter stops. So you can say, I want to do shorter legs. Let's do it. Let me do that real quick. Hit the thing. Has it got the new EV RAM RV in the database? No, not yet. So here we go. We're going to do this with shorter stops because we have a short bladder. And if you say I want to charge every time I take a pee, then be my guest. 57 hours and 17 minutes was the old one. What does it give me now? 58 hours and 3 minutes, and it's going to take you on a completely different route. Instead of taking you through Kansas, Missouri, and Kentucky, and then through, I think, probably the bottom half of West Virginia, it's going to take you the northern route. It's going to take you through Nebraska and Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and then bring you down over the Thingy Mountains, the mountains. I've forgotten the name of the mountains. And I've been there. I've been to those mountains. Anyway, there you have it. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I just realized that I wasn't sharing at that point. So let me share it. So that's the change in map, right? That's the change in map. If you want to stop everywhere because you have a small bladder, and I'll show you how to do that. So you change it. It was there, and you change it from there. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. Support the channel through Patreon, Bitcoin, and Ko-fi. And thanks to the amazing people who gave us super chats today. Thanks to the amazing people who support us through Patreon, Bitcoin, and Ko-fi. And thank you to those of you who buy swag from our swag store. Now, we know there is a bit of an issue right now with our swag store. We are trying to sort it. Some of the quality of the prints have been going downhill slightly. So we are actually in the process of trying to find a new supplier for T-shirts. What we really want to do is find a local printer that we can work with, because we're fed up with these big companies. But we're on it. There'll be more awesome content tomorrow. If you are celebrating MLK or having MLK off, I hope that you have an awesome day. We are having MLK off, but you know what? There is already content up for tomorrow, for Monday. If you are a Patreon supporter, if you are a Patreon supporter, you can go to Patreon, log into your Patreon account, and you can see tomorrow's video already today. If you are a Patreon supporter, Tuesday's video will go out on Monday. And guess what? Assuming we get it finished on time, Wednesday's video is going to go out on Tuesday. That's going to be our new thing. We noticed that making videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday just didn't work. So we've had to re-up our videos, but we're making them in a very different way. This is the longest video we've done for a really long time. So until next time, thanks for joining me, and keep evolving.